Okay, good morning. This video will probably be a bit boring and technical. It's just kind of more for my records on my liver. So I've been doing some deep diving with Claude, and which I always am trying to do. But anyway, I've kind of dialed in on one possible solution, which is because I'm kind of an anomaly, my liver situation, it's not an autoimmune condition they know of. I've tested negative for everything, and imagery doesn't give them any details, and my enzymes are all normal. So it's specifically the peri around vascular, the vessels that are constricting, and up to the vena cava, inferior vena cava, IVC, which dumps the outflow blood up into the heart. So they can't get up in there with the hardware. So anyway, all that's constricting. So this idea is that whatever this pathology is actually not in the liver, but it's in the vessel, not in the blood, not in the liver, but in the actual vessel tissue. And so your body produces immunoglobulins, IgG, and there's a specific immunoglobulin, IgG4, that if its ratio is above 40% of what your body's producing, it can cause these IgG4 diseases. So what they need to have is what I requested as kind of an afterthought to my interventional radiologist and hepatologist, was they had taken, I don't know if it was one or more biopsy while they were in there. So if they could test it, which they end up staining it for this IgG4. And the problem is, if it shows up positive, then it's very telling. But if it shows up inconclusive or negative, it doesn't really necessarily mean anything, because you can have this IgG4 where it's diffuse, where it's spread through all the perivascular tissue, like all the vein tissue, or you can have it where it's focal, so it's kind of patchy, it's just in focal spots. And so you could be a couple millimeters away, depending on where you took the biopsy, it might not show up. But they were going to go back in one more time anyway to balloon it back open again, my vessels back open again, so they could get a few more samples and maybe restain them. So they actually, which is very impressive, my hepatologist, who doesn't pretend to be something he's not, I really like him. No one human being can know everything, and they're overworked. I think quite overworked. So anyway, he has agreed. He brought on a pathologist. So I have a new doctor looking at this, and he's doing the staining, or I don't know if it's a he or she, but I just know their last name, the pathologist. So so that was really cool that they actually were proactive about that. I thought that was really cool. And if it is an IgG4, my understanding is actually that it can be treated and it can even be reversed. So that would be really, really, really cool. And it would mean I don't need a transplant, but we'll just see. And in the meantime, I think they're just going to go ahead with the screening, because constricting blood vessels is a problem. And then the other thing is I, through naturopathy, did discover that I had been exposed to decades ago a parasite, Strongyloides, and I have actually asked my GP for this, but you can't just take one test in isolation. But I had done a stool test where on a scale of 1 to 4, I was 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus of the larva was found. So that means there's been probably a massive takeover if decades later I have the maximum reading, more than the maximum reading found in my stool. So, and this particular parasite is known to home up in organs and even shut them down. So even particularly the liver. So I think it's kind of just like an understudied in Western allopathic medicine. But anyway, I did get a prescription across the border and I treated it. So I don't know if that was effective or not, but I also requested a serology test from my hepatologist because it's really expensive to do the lab work through naturopath, like privately. But also if I did it privately, I would want a second marker to verify. So they agreed to doing that too. So I'm getting kind of an obscure test covered by BC Med for this, my blood serum, like a blood test on this Strongyloides. So anyway, that's my record for where I'm at, and I think it was now, I think the findings were May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So maybe because everything takes a little longer, December-ish, maybe they will plan to go back into the liver and just verify everything. And all the screening was supposed to be done before that. And then at that point, if everything's been ruled out, then we will move forward to submitting to a transplant team in Vancouver. And that's when they would start looking at a living donor, which I have two people. One is a family member who I'm going to, well, actually I had three people, but one is a family member who would be my first line of defense. But so I'm hoping I'm trying to not get cut open, but also trying not to get other people cut open here. I do have I don't know if I said this in the other video, but I do have an ethical issue with the MAID program in Canada. So I don't really want to end up using, I don't want to be part of the supply-demand food chain, so to speak, of organs coming from MAID patients. So as much as I don't want to have friends and or family cut open, I don't know. Anyway, so that's where that's at. Yeah, so, and then I also have an uncle who has had a transplant, and he's 16 years out and doing really well. So he sent me, I reached out to him, and he sent me kind of a mother load of very organized medical information on all that you could imagine. So I'm in good hands and still praying. And yeah, it would actually just be a miracle if it was this IgG4 overproduction. But okay, we'll see.